What's up, guys? George Balecki here with Foxborough Rush. But hey, check out the newest episode of Hold My Banner. We catch up with Melissa Stern of Mel Clothing. And also Travis Thomas and I go through, with the Bucks winning the NBA Cup, does that make them legit contenders in the East? And of course, we point out our favorite games to watch this upcoming weekend, both in college and the NBA. That's Hold My Banner, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Again, Hold My Banner. Everything you need in the NBA, everything you need when it comes to the Celtics. Yeah, baby, let's get to it. Foxborough Rush back in the saddle. GB and Double T. How we doing today, Trav?
Well, I'm back in the saddle with you, buddy.
We're talking eating squirrel brains? No. That's what it feels like every day.
It does.
Covering
Facts.
the Patriots.
Yes.
You know what is great? Like, I grew up a Patriots fan. I grew up in a household where neither of my parents knew what sports was.
Yeah.
So, growing up,
Yep.
I was in second grade in 2001.
Wow.
I had memories of a guy named Tom Brady playing at Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Won a Super Bowl. I go, oh, they never won it before. I know this Brady guy.
Yeah.
2 older sisters. 0 sports influence in my life. I go, yeah. It'd be cool rooting for him. What's the best? I mean, it's their first Super Bowl.
Sure.
History happens.
Yeah.
When I got this job in Boston, I was like, man, I'm covering the Patriots. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
It's been like eating squirrel brains.
I know.
The last 4 years.
I know.
Much.
Well, hey, listen, I mean, Red Sox are close. Bruins are always, they have a shot at the cup every year.
Uh-huh.
And we have the Celtics. So, I mean, look, everyone before you and I showed up to this market, you know, they got all the Super Bowls. They got the dynasty. Good for them.
Yeah.
You and I, my friend, we're going to have to start from the bottom, work our way up.
Yeah.
We get it out the mud, and then eventually when the Patriots are good again, we'll reap those benefits. We'll feel like part of that fabric.
I don't need squirrel brains and I don't need Super Bowls. Just give me frog legs. Give me something that I can put down and I'll actually enjoy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the pinnacle.
Right.
And we're going to discuss how the Patriots seemingly, I don't think they're getting anything close to having frog legs, at least anytime soon. A lot of Jerry Jones references, and they just want to open up. You get your squirrel brains, brother.
That's why, because we started the show
pepper.
with that. That's why. We started with that damn accent. Now it's just, you can't stop it.
We'll get back on the rails. Hey, we're going to talk about Alex Van Pelt seemingly being the scapegoat down in Foxborough. He spoke with the media. Doesn't sound any better. Didn't help his case, and it sounds like there's more division going on. We'll also continue our NFL draft talk. Tight end time, people. This is going to be a fun one. As you know, Keegan Stiefel of Nesson.com will join us. He got some deep cuts. I'm talking Division II, MIAA.
Of course he does.
Located in Joplin, Missouri.
I'm sure.
Very near and dear to my heart. It's going to be exciting to talk about that. And you know what, Patriots fans, will make you guys feel better because end of the day, you are not fans of the New York Jets, and your owner, albeit pretty inept and meddling, doesn't make decisions based off Madden ratings. Yeah, we got all that and more right here on Foxborough Rush. So let's get into it, Trav.
Okay.
New reports have come out from Adam Schefter. Let's start there. On Get Up, saying Jerod Mayo is going to be retained. He said, quote, the Kraft family stands behind him. Ownership has stood behind him and is not planning on making any changes, but there's still 3 weeks left for him. Big but there. But let's go to Alex Van Pelt, seemingly to be the scapegoat, because he held a press conference. And during that press conference, he said the team's 3-11 record is a factor in how often the Pats are calling design QB runs for Drake May. Van Pelt said the focus is to get May through these last 3 games healthy. When Jerod Mayo overshares at a press conference, it's one thing.
Yeah.
Offensive coordinators in general, they'll be more open with the media. Not as many eyeballs on them. There's a massive effing telescope on the Patriots right now. Let's say magnifying glass, actually. You need your OC to know better than to share that, where you're going, well, the record is affecting my play calling, kind of making an excuse. But he's also airing out direction that he's likely getting from above him and above his head coach. Not good. And Alex Van Pelt, the cards keep stacking against him. From day one, he was seeing this guy could be the scapegoat. Both him and DeMarcus Covington are likely gone. You can count on that. But, man, Alex Van Pelt not helping himself at all, T.
Bro, what do you mean most likely coming from above? You know damn well. We both watched live, and then we watched 1,000 clips after of Jonathan Kraft sitting up there with his dad with the notepad, and we read the lips. This play calling is awful. And he was right. But also, I mean, clearly – Jerod Mayo's already told us that they do a debriefing after all these games and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Look, the scapegoat thing is BS, and we both know it, George. Both of these coordinators should and will be gone. No problem with that. But take the head coach with you. That's my issue.
Yeah.
I said the same thing in Chicago when Waldron got the axe. And I said, yeah, I get it. I mean, we just watched the Patriots. I think they had 9 sacks in that game or something insane. And, they couldn't manufacture any points and any scoring, and the play calling was awful. And, yes, the offensive line's not good, but Caleb also holds onto the ball. Someone's head must roll for that. So I understood the offensive coordinator. But then I thought, well, okay, how convenient to blame the play caller when isn't it the head coach's job to oversee everything?
Yeah.
Aren't they the CEO? Aren't they the boss of the coordinators? So that happened on your watch as a leader. Why in the hell are you firing my offensive coordinator right now? Why not wait till the end of the season and fire the whole damn staff, which is what I think the Patriots should do. But it appears as though, Van Pelt's going to be the scapegoat here. He's going to be blamed. Okay. I'm saying, George, and I've said this all year, I'm not the biggest Alex Van Pelt fan. I thought this press conference did not come off well, as you said. However, I think he's the best coordinator on this staff. So you're going to fire him. Look, the Jets did the same thing. When Saleh got fired, I told you that's the best coach on the staff.
Yeah.
And they got rid of him.
And the elite defense fell off.
That's right. I think it's unfortunate Van Pelt's going to be the guy whose head roll here, and Covington as well. But personally, I think the head of the snake is Jerod Mayo.
Yeah.
I think you got to start there personally.
Best coordinator on the Patriots staff, very low bar.
Yeah.
We say that?
Yes.
That's like having the best slice of pizza in the Midwest.
Yes. Right.
Like, you don't got much out there.
That's
so
right.
Let's be real there.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying, though, because when you look at DeMarcus Covington, you go, what's improved about the defense? They've gotten healthier, but the play's still been bad. When you look at Alex Van Pelt, the play calling is still conservative. The play calling at times can be questionable. The execution is not there. The communication with the offensive line and the receivers, just like the IQ and the overall execution is not there. Mm-hmm. Drake May's development has come further along. He's been smarter with the football. Not all turnovers are his fault. Not as reckless with the ball as a rookie QB that we've seen. Right. So I get it in all that. What jumped out to me is Alex Van Pelt indulging more when asked about, design quarterback runs and if it would change, if approach would change if the record was different. He said, absolutely. If it's 3rd and 2 and we're trying to get a playoff spot, we're going to use every means necessary to get those plays and put our guys in the best position.
Right.
I've been around the quarterback run game in Cleveland. They lost their quarterback for the year, talking about Deshaun Watson. So I know what it entails. I know it comes to that. It's a big risk that's involved. If it's a playoff situation or it's got to have it win the game, then possibly. But when that comes up, we'll make that determination. He did say he'd hate to lose them if it was a called, QB sneak. And what is important too, and I agree with Alex Van Pelt here, it's that 4th and 1 call where you bring in City So, you go Rhino package, you go heavier package, you bring in an extra blocker, and you can't get a yard. And the hole was there. Like, we were all watching. I'm like, how did he not get it? It was there. Well, Vidarian Lowe blew his assignment, so it's a lack of execution. He said he would call that play again in that situation because they need a half yard. They called it a similar play in the Jets game when they got to have it. Ramondre Stevenson scored. Yeah. It wasn't fully blocked and executed, but they got it. Mm-hmm. So I understand it there. But as you hear, and again, like those directions are coming from above him, when Jerod Mayo's at the podium and he's asked time and time again, it wasn't the first and it won't be the last, of why don't you run Drake May? And he goes, you said it, I didn't. And then Alex Van Pelt goes, well, we're not running him because we want to keep him healthy. That shows, Jerod Mayo, you don't have your hands on everything. You're letting Alex Van Pelt be the head coach of the offense.
That's right.
It says one of two things. You're letting Alex Van Pelt be the head coach of the offense and have full autonomy in the usage of Drake May and go, look, we're not going to do that in that situation because I don't want to get the kid hurt. His last 3 games of the season, progressing and getting those reps, are more important than us getting a yard in a season we've already lost. It says either that or, and I said it to you, T, how defensive he was, how agitated Jerod Mayo clearly was. Yep. That could be right after another post-game debrief where he's hearing it from Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft.
Good point.
And maybe that direction's coming down as well where he goes, you said it, I didn't. Mm-hmm. That's Jerod Mayo saying that it's above me, it's coming from the owners. And this, again, is Alex Van Pelt going, it's above me, it's coming from the owners. Yeah. I think it's more likely being hands-off, deferring to Alex Van Pelt in the situation and how you want to use Drake May. Because you go back to the preseason, 3rd and 4 against the Eagles. Read option. Drake May, untouched, scores a touchdown.
Right.
Now, 4th and a half yard, a lot different. You want to get downhill and just attack. You don't want to get cute and go east-west. You want to go north-south. But I still understand. You're not even doing a QB sneak. Jerod Mayo's throwing Alex Van Pelt under the bus, and Alex Van Pelt isn't going crazy to defend himself either. He said he has no regrets in the 4th and 1 shortage yard play. And he said everything was, accounted for. They just didn't execute. So,
well, there's a lot to unpack there. I want to start with agreeing with you that Jerod Mayo seemingly has given that sort of autonomy and power to Alex Van Pelt on the offensive side. Okay? Cool. Comma. What has Jerod Mayo and Covington done on the defensive side then?
Yeah.
I almost think it's more damning to Jerod Mayo and his leadership if what we're suggesting is true. If he has given the power to Alex Van Pelt, all right, you got the offense, I'm going to focus over here on the defensive side, then none of you can coach, which is my point. I don't have a problem. I'm not defending Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, from what I've seen with Thine Eyes this season, I think he's done the best job out of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you're right.
Like, to me, it's like, okay, if you're giving this to Alex Van Pelt, this offense to run with, and here you go, here's Drake May, this shiny Lamborghini, and we're going to put crap gas in it. So the Lamborghini's still going to run, but it's not going to be in its optimal because we're putting 87 unleaded in it. Well, Jerod Mayo, if you're working with Covington on the defensive side, I mean, my God, you are a Toyota Corolla with 200,000 miles on it that needs an oil change because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Every time you start that, I mean, you wake up the whole neighborhood with how bad it sounds, and it's black smoke everywhere. The defense sucks. So that's where my issue is. It's like, okay, cool. If we're giving this to Alex Van Pelt, great. But then what are you doing exactly, bro? That's why I think the whole staff should go. That's on one hand. On the other hand, you talked about design runs. I've been screaming for this all year, as you know, and I haven't seen it. I think it's lazy of Alex Van Pelt to say, well, we're just trying to protect him. We don't want to get him hurt. I mean, bro, if that's the truth, then George should have had his way, and you didn't play Drake May till 2030. That's not the truth. I think it's a lazy narrative.
Yeah.
I think it's clearly coming from above, and I think Alex Van Pelt is fed up with it. I watched with my eyes Drake May at UNC have design runs, and I watched him run for his life. He did both.
Yeah.
You know what he did every time? Protected himself. We've never had any conversations going back to the draft evaluation of these kids. We never had the same conversations about Drake May as we did Jaden Daniels. We talked about Jaden Daniels needs to protect himself.
Yeah.
We showed highlights of Jaden Daniels getting absolutely destroyed in the SEC because he wasn't sliding, because he wasn't getting out of bounds, because he was trying to pick up, extra yardage and make a play. This isn't, I'm not crapping on Jaden Daniels here. I'm just stating facts.
Yeah.
When we talked about Drake May, the runner, it was a benefit. It was an added bonus. It was icing on the cake. By the way, this kid, he's a good athlete. He can run. I watched these games. I lost a lot of money betting on Drake May in college, and it wasn't his fault then either. He ran for his life, and there were also design runs. And I saw him dive. I saw him protect himself and get out of bounds. You know what else I saw? The most important thing? Positive yardage. Either way, running for life or designed. So I think it's a lazy narrative for any coordinator. Van Pelt, Covington, freaking Mayo, the head coach, to stand up here and feed us this BS of we're trying to protect the kid so he doesn't get hurt. Nonsense. The Krafts have told you, don't run this kid. We don't want him to get hurt. Just that concept, George, tells you a non-football mind mandated this.
Yeah.
Because a true football mind, and what have I been asking for? Creative play calling. I mean, you want to really show off every asset that this kid has.
Yeah.
You want to show off all of his gifts. In this case, George, no design runs. You're handcuffing one of the things he does the best. And Drake May has talked about this his damn self at press conferences. I'm a pretty good runner. Yeah, no Shaq, Sherlock. They just don't want to run you because they're scared. And because this isn't a football decision, it is coming from above on that stupid-ass notepad that the Krafts are using during these games.
It also, again, when Jonathan Kraft is up there bitching to his dad about the play calling and Robert Kraft just looks removed and like he doesn't care.
Right.
It shows a division.
Yeah.
Because who's the bitching about the play calling coming from? It's probably from Jonathan.
Right.
And it's Robert Kraft going into a locker room after a game going, Jerod, great job, man. They were competitive. You guys came back. I'm so proud of you. And then it's Jonathan going, what's this?
That's
in
right.
this situation, what's this? What's that?
I could so see that.
Where Jerod's like, all right, bro, like your dad gave me 5 years probably. In reality, it should be 3. And now you're yelling at me. But the Schefter report gets me to the Kraft family also stands behind him. Ownership has stood behind him and is not planning on making any changes, but there's still 3 weeks left for him. Mm-hmm. This is coming from Robert Kraft. No, we still stand behind Jerod Mayo. Because the guys that have been covering the league and been covering this team for a long time, like the Tom Currans and the Albert Breers,
yep.
You think they're just going to start throwing out, like, this is who Mike Vrabel wants as an offensive coordinator? This is who Mike Vrabel wants as a GM? Mm-hmm. That Mike Vrabel is interested in the Patriots? Mm-hmm. If there wasn't smoke? Like, let's be real. And then Schefter comes in from the other end. It's Robert Kraft putting in a report to Adam Schefter, and then it's probably Jonathan Kraft going his route, talking to other people. And this is when I'm watching it all.
Yep.
The Patriots are a circus right now. They are approaching Nathaniel Hackett level of circus performances, not as egregious on the field,
right?
But the entire league is watching and seeing that it is an absolute mess. Mm-hmm. You have a division between Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft on the head coach and the execution of this football team. Yep. You have a division between the general manager and Elliott Wolf and the head coach and Jerod Mayo on how to use personnel, the timeline of the personnel, and let's be real, just supplying actual quality personnel to the head coach.
Right.
And now you have a division between your head coach and your best coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, by the head coach throwing him under the bus publicly. Everything about here is just a mess right now, and the whole league sees it.
Yeah.
Maybe Nathaniel Hackett's a little too extreme.
No,
Uncle Brandon Staley of the LA Chargers, though. From year one, everyone knew this wouldn't work. From year one, everyone said he was underqualified and it shouldn't work. But this is on Robert Kraft to stop being stubborn and trying to be right and being humble and correcting his own mistake. You gave a head coach with zero experience, a GM with zero experience, all these coordinators with zero experience, the keys to your franchise, and it's been an utter failure. The whole league sees it. They have to see it themselves. The last thing, because on this, 5 of their 9 most powerful personnel decision makers, Belichick carryovers. Elliott Wolf, Executive Vice President of Player Personnel, been with the Patriots since 2020. Mm-hmm. Matt Groh, Director of Player Personnel, been with the Patriots since 2011. Patrick Stewart, Director of Pro Personnel, was with the Patriots from 2007 to 2017, returned to the franchise. Sam Fioroni, Assistant Director of Pro Personnel, been with the Patriots since 2021. And then Marshall Owium, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, sorry. Director of Football Strategy, been with the Pats since 2018. You fired Bill Belichick, who was your head of personnel and your head coach. And all you did was keep literally the top 4 decision makers right now, your personnel department, as carryovers from him. You didn't put the structure in place. When you're interviewing offensive coordinators, you have Robin Glazer in there having conversations, just yucking it up and barely talking football. This all goes back to the Krafts. This all goes back to how they have insulated themselves and try to be too hands-on with this entire team. They've made every mistake you possibly can be as an owner since they fired the head coach. Now they need to look on themselves and make every correction possible to fix this.
Well, some of that would be a sort of an inner monologue and an inner discussion of, do we need full control? Because we all know, George, that's why you move off a bill and you go completely, green in terms of head coaching experience in Jerod Mayo. This is about control. This is so you can meddle. This is so you can be involved in football decisions. This is so you can suggest.
It's ego, too.
Yeah, of course it is. That's part of control, right?
Yeah.
It's so you can suggest on this stupid notepad what we should be doing, and you can critique and say, oh, this play calling is awful, as if you have a clue, okay? It's about control. Bill Belichick wasn't playing any of those games, okay? And if you go out and you get a Mike Vrabel, like you and I have discussed, Mike Vrabel ain't playing those damn games either. So this is about control. Jerod Mayo is someone that they know. They can say, we want this, this, and this, and this, and Jerod Mayo is going to make it happen. And if he has to throw players or fellow coaches under the bus, so be it. But he survives. He gets to stick around. He gets to gain experience. And we'll see where that takes us. I still don't believe he's going to be here next season. I don't give a damn how many reports come out that he is. I still believe they're going to lose out. And if you lose 7 games in this league to end a season, you are canned, okay? So all these offensive and defensive coordinators that we're talking about getting fired, you could just rope Jerod Mayo right into that if you ask me. But if they do keep him and you bring in a new staff, it'll be a rinse and repeat. It'll be a Jerod Mayo in the back room having these debriefings, the Krafts telling him what they want, and then he'll go out and try to, put that message to whatever insert coordinator name here. And by the way, George, if Mayo stays and they replace the coordinators, watch. It'll be green coordinators just trying to get a job, bruh. Just trying to get a foot in the industry and get their names out there because you can control that.
My favorite was Jerod Mayo. He was asked about Kayshon Boutte not finishing all his routes. And this is literally quote for quote, Jerod Mayo. I'm not going to talk about specific players. I think we all have to get better. For me, when you talk about Boutte, I'm not going to talk about specific players. We all got to get better. But hey, I'm going to talk about this specific player. Foot out of mouth is impossible.
I didn't put my feet on his couch. Yeah, I remember putting my feet on his couch. Like, what?
You can control a guy like Mike Vrabel to a point. You got to listen to a guy like Mike Vrabel.
That's right.
You could get someone you can control. It doesn't have to be like an extreme term. Get someone that knows their ish.
It should be communal. It should be a collaborative.
They want that. That's obviously what they've been pushing because it always was. It's Bill Belichick. He makes the personnel decisions. He's a head coach. Bill does everything.
Yes.
The Krafts are like, hey, we're here too. So they wanted to force their way into the conversation.
That's right.
Since day one, preaching collaboration.
Right.
And guess where collaboration has gotten there? Them. Nowhere.
Because it's not collaboration, George. It's control.
Dude, I just compared them to Nathaniel Hackett. They are a circus.
It's not a terrible comparison. By the way,
Hackett was bad. He was a moron.
Terrible, but
you're watching a game and you go, that entire operation has no idea what they're doing.
And remember with Hackett, it's easy now to just remember the bad. George, they had Russell Wilson, all the money in the world. They had expectations. That was a team that was close. They were a quarterback away, right? They had expectations in Denver. That's why the Hackett was so damn bad.
Yeah.
That's not the case here, bro. They didn't have expectations coming in.
Yep.
So now we're watching this. That's why I think the Brandon Staley even makes sense to me too, where they're clearly going to stick with this, where the Chargers should have moved off of Staley and we all knew it. Yeah. They hung with him too long.
Yeah.
I think Hackett was a train wreck, but there were at least expectations placed on him, so it was easier for us to see the train wreck.
And that Walmart money was willing to fire him and get on with it. Well, there was the connection of the Chargers was just hoping that Staley is the next Sean McVay, even though he's defensive coordinator. Stupid hire.
It was dumb.
This one with the Krafts is, remember, 5 years ago in an airport, he had us all talk about a trip to Israel while we were in a layover. Again.
That's when I knew.
I would have been like, this is a massive red flag. I'm going to go sit at the bar and drink a beer, bro. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out today's episode of Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast, Boston's Enter the Chat. We talk Patriots as well as other major sports teams in the Boston area and national, of course. You can find it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, Apple, wherever else you get your podcasts. That is Boston has entered the chat. All right, let's bring them in.
Yeah.
Time for the homie, Keegan Stiefel, in to talk draft talk. We're talking tight ends today.
That's right.
Keegs, I like this. This is weapons. This is pass catchers. It's something the Patriots need.
Yeah, people don't really want to think about it a whole ton because there are so many needs. I feel like people kind of brush the tight end thing off to the side. Yeah. And, respect to Hunter Henry. I think the work that he's done with rookie quarterbacks throughout his career, well done. I really do. I think I respect him more now than I did before, just for what he's done. But at the end of the day, it's going to run out, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need a replacement for him eventually. Austin Hooper is not going to stick around for a long time, probably, most likely. So I think it's time to start looking toward the future.
Yep.
Hunter Henry, he's been good. Austin Hooper's been nails. I would say the two most
They've both been
underrated
awesome.
guys.
Yeah, they've both been tremendous. I think that's your best offensive unit.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, so far, has been the tight ends. The running backs have been fine. I think Ramondre Stevenson probably hasn't been as good as we all expected him to be.
No. Yeah.
But the tight ends have been fantastic.
What makes me feel old is when I'm watching like Hunter Henry at a podium talk, and I'm like, he's my age. He's 30. And I'm so immature. He's a professional. That's what's good. But it's important. Get your tight ends in. Like they got Jaheim Bell,
Right.
At the end of the last draft. They're misusing him. Like you're seeing him motion at the snap, trying to be a blocker on the run play. That's not Jaheim Bell. He's an athlete. But let's talk tight ends that they can add because I'm interested to hear who you think they do add. Who do you want to start with on your end, Keegs? You give me a name, bro.
Yeah, I guess we'll go Gunnar Helm because
Cool.
I think that's probably the area that they're going to be looking to add. End of day 2, beginning of day 3, kind of 3rd, 4th round pick guys.
Oh, okay.
And this is probably the top of that group because this is a really deep tight end class. So Gunnar Helm, 6'5", 238. Traditional inline tight end, right? You look at him, you're like, that guy plays tight end. Mm-hmm. Not really a doubt in your mind. And he's a really good athlete. I think for his size specifically, he's not like a straight line speed guy, but explosiveness. I've seen him jump over too many people to not consider him one of the better athletes in this class. And for what he does against zone coverage, I think I'm not comparing him to Travis Kelce, so don't think that. But his ability to read zone defenses and stop his route in the middle and sit down and just give his quarterback an open space. It reminds me a little bit of what Hunter Henry's been able to do this year.
Yeah.
And Kelce has been the face of that for tight ends. So
I like that.
I think he's the kind of guy who can come in and play right away, but also develop behind a Hunter Henry. He can be your number 2 next year, and then eventually once Henry's contract runs out, you don't have to worry about figuring out who's going to be tight end 1 because you have that guy already in the building. I really like him a lot.
Everything you say there, that's day 1 impact player.
Yeah.
And they need it. They need it.
And this is the position that they're going to be able to add one of those guys, but not in the 1st or 2nd round, right?
No.
Tight end, it is so deep. We're going to talk about however many. All of them are going to be drafted. They're all going to be decent pros, I believe.
Yeah.
But being able to find a guy like that in the 3rd or 4th round, you can't beat that. You have to take advantage of that this year, I think.
A pro tight end off the bat. Like why? Like Lad McConkey didn't jump off film at anybody, but he was a day 1 NFL receiver, and he's been that for the Chargers. That's clearly what the Patriots
They know how to
need.
play the position. I think that's a huge thing with the Patriots because the coaching they're going to get at the next level probably isn't all that great. So just a guy who already knows how to play the position. He's comfortable doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go grab some of those guys.
Trav, a guy like a Gunnar Helm, a guy that I've watched, and since last year I've loved him. And I think, again, as a day 1 starter, I know you're high on Colston Loveland out of Michigan.
Yeah, look, I've been hanging around you guys too much because my whole thing breaking down the tight ends, I went to the top of the heap here.
Yeah.
And you heard what Keegan said. This is a deep tight end class, and he's absolutely right. And when you look at the top, there are 3 guys, I think, that will be first rounders potentially and all make an impact immediately. So where I say I've been hanging around you two too much, I'm not thinking about day 2 and day 3. I'm thinking about if the Patriots are dumbasses and don't take a Travis Hunter and trade back and you get multiple picks, certainly if you're picking on the back end of a first round or if you have multiple back end first round picks, obviously I know you two would be happy if you get a tackle. And then I'm thinking if McMillan's off the board, who I know you both have man crushes on, the wide receiver from Zona, if he's gone, then they could look at tight ends.
Yeah.
So Loveland's a guy who I like at Michigan. Big body, well-rounded game. He can block, he can catch.
Yeah,
obviously
strong
playing
hands.
at strong as hell. Playing at a program like Michigan, winning at the levels he has, that's someone who could come in here day 1 and make an impact.
And I don't want to get caught up in his 2024 tape because obviously the quarterback play has been atrocious in Michigan. He's dealt, with his injuries as well. Him as a weapon for J.J. McCarthy, playing on that national level against a competition that they were facing, and he was young, a sophomore. Like, it was insane the impact he had on the field. That's a guy, like, last year I was watching, like, oh, he's not draft eligible because that's someone I was excited to see at the next level. He's going to go top 20, I believe, maybe top 25. I think that's where Colston Loveland goes. Trev, you're going to roll your eyes, but don't. They could trade back. They can get a Kelvin Banks. They can accrue more picks. Then trade back into the first, be aggressive, and get a very valuable weapon like a Colston Loveland.
I
It's
know.
not the worst thing. And then they can still get receivers on the back end.
I know.
The Patriots need weapons. They need weapons, not just receivers, not just tight ends. They need weapons.
I agree.
I think the funny thing about Loveland, too, right? Coming into the year, you thought tight end 1, that's the best tight end in the country.
Yeah.
You know, what we saw him on a national stage last year, whatever it might be, he's probably the 3rd or 4th best tight end in my eyes.
Yeah.
Looking at the draft this year. Because I know, T's going to talk about this guy, Tyler Warren, who is friggin' nuts.
He won the Mackey.
He won the Mackey, but that's a perfect segue, Trav, because he shouldn't have won the Mackey. I want to talk about the guy who should have won the Mackey.
Oh, God.
Harold Fannin Jr. T, you know where he went to college?
Baby. Yeah,
all right,
I do.
you step all over it. Bowling Green. Let me just read off a few things, because I wrote them down, and as I was writing them down, I was like, I would draft that guy top 15. And you don't draft tight ends top 15. I think he's that good. As the Patriots, no, right? They have bigger needs. They have bigger fish to fry. But a team looking for a weapon, I don't see why you wouldn't draft this guy. 6'4", 230, not the biggest guy in the world, but great size, for the position. In the 2 games he really played against good competition this year, Penn State and Texas A&M, 19 total catches for 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. He might have had the greatest tight end season in the history of college football. He was a consensus All-American, MAC Player of the Year, only the 2nd tight end in the history of college football to win Player of the Year in his league at the tight end position. He led the country in catches, yards, and touchdowns by a tight end. He was top 2 in the first 2. 100 catches, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. I look at this guy, I see David Njoku. If you can go add David Njoku right now to your offense, you do it. So, I really like Tyler Warren. He's like 6'5", 260. He's a friggin' behemoth. I fall in love with those guys every year, but you don't come across Harold Fannin Jr.'s every year.
Jesus.
So that's why I really like him as a
George,
prospect.
this guy, he's just glossing over the Mackey winner. He only broke Big Ten, not Bowling Green. I know it's not their conference. Big Ten records for receptions and yards. But you want to talk to me about some Bowling Green? I mean, who'd you say, Njoku? How's Kyle Pitts 2.0 sound? What could go wrong?
That's great. Kyle Pitts, a guy who can only fit in like 4 offenses in the NFL and has flamed out. At that, great. If you want to take that guy, you take that guy. I'll take the guy who's been a great tight end for the last 10 years.
Your guy is Kyle Pitts 2.0. What could go wrong there? A big freak athlete who can do everything. I'd take him in the top 15. But the Mackey winner, oh, no. We don't. He broke records in the Big Ten. We don't need that.
We're talking about award winners in college football. Like the guys who vote for him actually watch the sport.
Every game.
They
way
don't.
too many games.
Jesus. So the Heisman doesn't matter either, right? That's what's next. The Heisman doesn't matter.
They take the top 3 conferences. Whoever the best player at that position in the conferences, they give them the award. I'm just telling you right now, Harold Fannin was the best tight end in the country this year.
You guys are unreal.
Tyler Warren is Austin Hooper, but Fannin can comp out to a Njoku. And what's the ceiling? And Tyler Warren, bigger base, obviously much bigger, nice, good inline blocker. But then Fannin, you need pass catchers for your rookie tight end, Trav.
Like, what are we doing with this inline tight end stuff?
If Fannin becomes a good receiver, then who cares? Like, that's what you want. That's what the modern day NFL is. It's what these tight ends are.
I also don't want it to come across like I don't like Tyler Warren because
it feels like you don't like Tyler Warren.
No, but he's number 2.
This is what Trav does. This is what Trav does.
He's number 2.
It feels like
somebody can be better and he can also be good.
Meshes it. And he's loud and wrong.
I don't know.
I never said that. I love
loud
pizza.
And wrong.
I just like sushi more. He goes, no, you said you hate pizza. I never said that.
I don't know if you know this. A lot of good football players out there. A lot of guys.
It is.
More than one good tight end in the history of college football, believe it or not.
It is.
There are 32 draft slots in every round, Trav. Remember that. Hey, if you're enjoying this conversation, it's the boys just talking NFL draft and all that. If you're enjoying the football conversation, Foxborough Rush airs every Monday and Wednesday and Friday. You can find it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever else you get your podcasts. So I like this because, Trav, you went with the day one guy. Keegan, you went with the second, third rounder. I'm looking more, again, of the later rounds. Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt, 6'4", 225, so small.
Yeah.
4.5 40 range, and he's going to be a 6th rounder. Great acceleration off the snap, good at stacking defenders, especially he's more of like a straight line speedster. But he's a natural catcher. When I watch his film, like his hands are so soft. He is the modern day tight end. He is a wide receiver that you can line up slot, out wide, and inline, but not great with his hand in the dirt. But you put him anywhere in your scheme, and he will catch the ball. His catch radius isn't the best. He's not the best blocker or route runner, but he's really good on 50-50 balls. Good spatial awareness in the zone. Again, Keegan, something you were pointing out. Look, he's a receiving tight end. He started out at A&M, transferred to New Mexico State, did well in New Mexico State, got back to the SEC and Vanderbilt, and was one of the best receivers for a team that surprised a lot of people. In the 6th round, he could be a gem. I like an Eli Stowers.
Here's something I love about him. Former quarterback, right?
Yep.
Went to
IQ,
Texas
and that's
A&M
why he's great against zone.
as a quarterback, and that's you just said it, right? Perfect against zone. He understands defenses. He's put on like 30 pounds in the last couple of years. If you look at him, he can put on more. Like, he could get up to the 245, 250 range and still be a really good athlete. Like, I think this is a guy, like you said, later rounds where you can kind of mold him into what you need him to be. Development-wise, do you trust the Patriots to do that? I don't know. But if he's in the right situation, I think he can be one of the better tight ends in this class for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point by you.
Yeah, I just like the film on him. And if it's in the 6th round,
right?
I think he's ready as a receiver right away. The route running needs to come around more, but like the IQ is there, and I assume he can grasp a system.
Right.
But see, like you guys have day one impact guys. Mine is more of a project. Keegan, you went in on Helmet Finn, and you got another guy. I like this one. When you send me your list, we're going to Joplin here, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to piss off
Trav. Listen.
What are we doing?
No,
I mean, what's next?
If
Hot
he's good-
sauce tech.
Hold on, wait.
Like, what are we
Travis
doing?
thinks the Patriots
Hold
have
on.
11 first-round
Like,
picks.
what are we doing?
Every
Wait.
position we talk about.
Oh,
First,
Jesus.
we can only talk about the first round, guys. At the end of the day, you only have so many picks. And you're going to have a 7th-round pick this year. You're going to need to take somebody with it because you're not going to be able to trade it off. And I'm going to give you some names that they might target. I don't think that's that crazy. Is that crazy, Trev?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, where are we going next? We going to JUCO to get the next tight end?
Yeah,
Where are we
we're going
he's
to JUCO.
He's a JUCO product.
Oh, there we go.
JUCO.
All right.
Wait,
Tell
time
me
out.
about him.
Real quick,
How
Trav.
many people were at the game?
Trav.
7? Let's
Trav.
see. Where's
What
the
if-
tape? Is it
what-
grainy?
what
Do
if
I have
your-
a better chance of seeing Bigfoot or this kid play? Let me know.
One of your favorite stories in the NFL, Travis, is Santana Moss.
Oh, U?
But
Heard
who
of
no
it?
one saw. So you're attaching
track
the helmet
star.
to the player.
He was a track star.
You draft and you scout the player, not the helmet.
Go ahead, Keegs.
That's what's big. No one expected
wait.
him to be what he
I'll
was.
Joplin, Missouri.
And he became great.
with the next George Malecki covering him.
Yeah.
Right?
God. I've sat through Missouri Southern 0-11 seasons. Shout out to what they're doing now, man. They're like in the playoffs. Shout out to Atiba Bradley.
God.
He went to Moso. He's a Joplin guy. Shout out to us talking Missouri Southern
There's
football.
not a single person listening to this podcast that knows anything that you're saying. I'm just saying.
There's even a host of the podcast that doesn't know what you're saying.
Shout out to us talking Missouri Southern football on a podcast in Boston.
I would love to talk about Missouri
Let's
Southern,
go
but
ahead,
I keep
man.
getting
Deontay
stepped
Campbell.
all over every
Go
time
ahead,
I want to talk
man.
about
Go ahead.
Deontay Campbell.
Oh, man.
6'5", 230. And yes, when you watch the footage, it's at a horrible angle because they're playing in Joplin, Missouri.
That stadium's awful.
Nevertheless, this is my sicko pick. I want to come in with it's my favorite thing in the world is watching stupid college football games.
Yeah.
And this is a guy I came across last year, and I've kept tabs on, and I really like him as a player. He declared for the draft earlier this week. Extremely smooth receiver. He's got good size for the position. And at the end of the day, when you're in the 7th round, what are you looking for? You're looking for good athletes who can try to figure out what they do well at the next level and plug them into situations to succeed.
Yeah.
Deontay Campbell is that guy. I think if he's in the right situation, he can be one of those D2 to NFL products who ends up having success at the next level. That took 35 seconds, Trav.
Hey, man.
Turned
I'm glad
into
it's
4
over.
minutes because
Trav,
we
you know
glad
who
it's
went to,
over.
Stop
Trav, you
talking
know who
about
went to Missouri Southern?
Glad it's over.
You know who went to Missouri Southern?
Who?
Brandon Williams, one of the
Oh.
best D tackles
Yeah.
in his generation.
Yeah?
Who'd he play for? The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Who'd he win a Super Bowl with? The Kansas City Chiefs.
No doubt, man.
Don't sleep on the D2 schools, man. And
Right on.
competing in the MIAA, that conference,
Yeah.
that is the SEC of Division II football. He's
No
playing
question.
against really good competition.
Shout outs to all the roast beef techs out there. I'm going to go Mason Taylor from LSU. I mean, I know that's probably offensive to look at a SEC school where they put absolute machines of men into the NFL, but this is one of them. A mountain of a man, 6'5", 255. He's fast. He moves well. He can block. I will say this. I think all these tight ends at the top of the heap and all the way to Joplin, a lot of these guys are well-rounded, and I think it speaks to the coaching and the development of the position. We talk all the time about 7-on-7 camps around the country and how it develops quarterbacks and how it develops wide receivers and all these skill positions. I think a lot of resources around the country from coaches, from programs, from camps have been poured in to tight ends as well. Big guys who can move. Back in the day, it used to be you either could block and that was it, or you were a receiver, but you were light in the hind parts, and you had to bulk up and become a better blocker. Nowadays, these kids, and a lot of them, this is a deep class, as Keegan said. A lot of them can do everything. It's just a matter of getting them in your system and figuring it out from there. So credit to the tight end academy of the world, whoever you are, manufacturing these kids, because they can all play no matter where you're from, in all seriousness. But I think Keegan really hit on a key point as it pertains to the Patriots. While I give props to whoever's building all these tight ends, I will give zero props to the Patriots in my trust in that whoever they draft, they can develop. I have some serious questions when it comes to that. But I think we all agree that this is, for sure, an area of need for the team.
They need an impact guy at that position.
Can you tell me who the Patriots tight end coach is?
Who?
No, can you tell me? I'm asking.
No. What the hell do I care?
No, I think that's the best thing you can say about Bob Bicknell, tight ends coach, because if you can't name who he is, he's doing a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, fair.
We haven't crapped all over his unit this year.
Sure, that's a
we
good
haven't
point.
been complaining about how he's doing a terrible job developing Jaheim Bell, who
that's a good point.
Started to play a little bit down the stretch. So I actually think the tight end position might be the only one that they can develop.
Yeah, maybe. You might be right.
If the tight end coach is still there after the clean house on the whole offensive staff.
That's also true.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, so I got two. I'll go quick on them. This guy's a project. He has his history of injuries, but when he plays, he's really productive, especially when he's played with Cam Ward at Miami. Elijah Arroyo, 6'4", 245, 4.6 40. He's expected to be a sixth rounder. Length, speed is great. His hands are fantastic. He's that prototypical mismatch for safeties and for linebackers. And if you watch Miami games, like watch him in the bowl game, he should be playing. He needs to up his stock. They line him up everywhere. In the backfield, hand in the dirt, in the slot, out wide. Just having that willingness to be versatile, I think, is important. And he doesn't mind blocking. He is what I love, and I think it's a great thing to say about a tight end, vacuum hands. Really good catch radius, really athletic, and really good. Just let's see him play. But if this is a guy that you throw the ball his way and he's going to catch it, that's so important for a tight end, especially with his catch radius. Because again, credit to Austin Hooper. Some of the catches he's made from the throws from Drake May are so impressive because Drake May's putting it only where your receiver can get it, and he reels it in. And I'll end with this guy. This is where I also don't understand the tight end position. If you watch Georgia games, what is one word you'd use to describe the quarterback play for UGA this season?
Disappointing.
I don't think I can say it. I don't think I'm allowed to say it.
Let's say ugly.
Disappointing.
Oscar Delp of Georgia. The catches he's making should not be catches because they are so inaccurate, so off point. And obviously, again, his production will take a hit. This kid's 6'5", 245, a projected seventh rounder, but his athleticism is ridiculous. And I hate to comp him to this, but it is what it is. He reminds me of a Brock Bowers. You can line him up in the slot and he has an effect there. His athleticism is great. His catch radius, one-handed snags. And again, like we all know how big of a disappointment Carson Beck has been. Oscar Delp, when the ball has been thrown his way, is coming down with it. Get him with an accurate quarterback like Drake May, and that is something you'd want to see. Jaheim Bell, I like him as a project. I watch Oscar Delp, and that to me is a guy that jumps out more if he can become an NFL tight end. So that's what I like with him. Keegan, here where your ears are going to perk. Special teams contributor.
That's right.
Get only special teams guys the F out of my face, unless your name's Brendan Schooler, because he's been great for them.
Right.
Best
if
player
you
on the
get
team.
someone in there that can come in situations and be a pass catcher, but also fill more roles on the roster and just adds value all around. And Oscar Delp is a guy you would want in the 6th or 7th round. I wouldn't mind him in the 5th. He has the size. He has the hands. He has the route running. The IQ, too. He's really good against the zone. He's played with very bad quarterback play. The Patriots could use a guy like an Oscar Delp.
I think one of the cool things about both the guys you just mentioned, they both learned from, great people, right? Delp learned from Brock Bowers.
Yep.
You couldn't ask for a better college tight end to sit under for a while. Arroyo started the year as the backup to Cam McCormick, who's one of the greatest bag getters in the history of college football. 8th year senior. He's 26 years old.
Get that
He's
NIL,
made
baby.
millions of dollars through Miami. So I want a smart kid. He's learning behind that guy.
Yeah.
One of the great geniuses of our generation, Cam McCormick. I'm in.
How old is bro? 40?
26
That's
years old. He's older
insane.
than me.
That's crazy.
That's older than I am.
That's crazy.
You're young
Insane.
as hell, Keegan. Oh, my God.
I wasn't gonna say it, but that's friggin' ridiculous. If you're in college, you're younger than me. Get a job.
Start paying some bills.
Yeah,
around
like
here.
I had to get a job.
Technically, he has a job. He's getting paid to play football.
That's like, I guess.
I got you.
I guess.
Oh.
No, I
Yes.
get. You're right.
See what happens.
Get a job to where you're not taking advantage of a system. You're taking money out of these poor kids' hands.
See
Cam.
what happens,
You're a grown
kids,
man. There's
when-
18-year-olds out there who
I
could
don't
use
blame
those
them.
When you
millions
go
of
to a
dollars.
big program, okay, you're able to work
Yeah.
the system.
Yeah.
But when you go to these little piddly dink colleges that you're talking about, Keegs, they got to get jobs, man. They got kids to support. They got stuff to do. They're playing football and working 40 hours a week.
You think Campbell isn't going to work his ass off trying to get to the NFL because he hasn't made a dime in college?
Facts.
He's going to work harder than the
He's
rest
gonna
of the
work
guys
harder.
we mentioned.
A lot of those kids come with that chip on their shoulder, no
Right.
doubt. No doubt.
Give me the dude who hasn't made a dime in the last 5
Facts.
years. I'll take him.
That
If
hunger.
I played at Moso, nickname for Missouri Southern, by the way.
Oh,
guys.
God.
Just
Here we
Missouri
go, Keegs.
Southern thing.
See
You know
what you
what?
did, Keegan?
You know what my
No
NIL
big deal.
deal? You know what I want my NIL deal to be?
Gonna name some
Some
chicken
tire.
place.
The
Yeah.
the number one bar in Joplin,
That's
Missouri.
right.
Oh, here we go.
Whiskey Dicks.
That's right,
Spent
baby.
a lot of nights
Leave
there.
it alone, Keegan.
My boy Kellen and I would hold it down on
Leave
the
it alone,
karaoke there
Keegan.
on Wednesday nights.
George spent a lot of time at Whiskey
a setup.
Dicks. That's what everybody
Fantastic bar.
says.
It's a
That's what everybody
setup.
likes to
Yeah,
say.
that name is nuts, dude. Hey, Keegan, stick around. I normally kick you off. We're going to crap on the Jets.
Yeah.
But real quick, the NBA season is here, and the question is, will the Celtics repeat and claim banner 19? You can find everything about the NBA and its culture on Nesson's basketball podcast, Hold My Banner, available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. Again, that is YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever else you get your podcasts. Real quick, the 4.4 is a rating for Whiskey Dicks on Main Street in Joplin. Great time, man.
It's not bad. Is that
They
a
have an
Yelp
outdoor
review?
section in the back.
Keegan, you're not gonna go there.
Is that
don't,
Yelp or
don't do
Google?
this.
That
Don't
was
do
I
this.
always do Google. I'm a big Google review
Google,
guy,
yeah,
too.
people are more, they keep up with Google. People
Keegan,
don't keep-
Yeah,
you
Google
will
review.
never step foot in that place.
I'll never step foot in Missouri, let alone Joplin and Whiskey Dicks.
You're
I'm all
not-
set. No thanks.
Kansas City's not bad, but it's like that's a flyover city. Northwest Arkansas, beautiful. I would say go to Northwest Arkansas.
I spent too much time around the Bible Belt. I'm all set.
Yeah, that's right.
Never
Oh
going
yeah,
back.
that's big Texas eating squirrel brain. All right.
Okay.
So
Speaking of guys who eating squirrel brain.
we were
Yes.
talking about circuses earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think Woody Johnson eats nothing but squirrel brain. So The Athletic put out a vast report just basically calling the Jets the most dysfunctional thing in the NFL. Here's some bullet points from this to save you guys the reading.
Okay.
General Manager Joe Douglas told the Broncos Woody Johnson didn't want to make a trade for Jerry Jeudy because his Madden rating was too low.
Wow.
Johnson
Hell
followed
yeah, dude.
decision-making advice from his teenage son, and the Jeudy trade wasn't the only time Johnson cited Madden ratings when evaluating players.
Damn.
Jerry Jeudy had an 81 rating, which is like good for Madden. Mike Williams, the Jets signed, had an 87 rating.
Oh.
He also pushed against a John Simpson signing due to his low awareness rating in Madden. Simpson has had a solid season. And when the Jets traded Zach Wilson to the Broncos, Johnson asked the team to trade pick number 256 instead of 257 because Woody wanted to keep the Mr. Irrelevant pick so the Jets can draft their own Brock Purdy.
Hell yeah, dude.
Last year, Woody started to include his son, Brick, 17, Brick Johnson.
Brick.
That's a sick name.
That's a
I
sick
see
name.
nothing wrong with anything you've said so far.
And
He's a
Jack-
brickhead, too.
Last year, he included his sons, Brick and Jack, 17 and 15, in team meetings. They would share social
Hell
media
yeah.
posts from various Jets content outlets about what was being said about the team. Woody would cite something that Brick or Jack read online. Woody would weigh it equally against an opinion anyone in the department has. I answered to a teenager, Joe Douglas told a team official. In 2022, Mike White played through broken ribs in a game versus the Seahawks. White played poorly. The Jets lost, officially eliminating him from playoff contention. After the game, teammates heard Woody Johnson say, "You should throw your helmet, you effing suck." The comment got to White, and Woody had to apologize. Dude.
Can I just real quick? I want to hang out with Brick and Jack.
I don't. They're a nightmare, bro.
No, because Brick and
The
Jack.
entitlement, the ego.
Probably the worst people on the planet, right?
Yes.
They grew up with a billionaire dad. They're Johnson family members. Whatever. I bet you they treat their friends like kings. I bet you hang out with those two kids, you're getting a Porsche out of it. You're getting steak and lobster. I want to hang out with Brick. I'm sorry. Dumb teenagers, I think they're funny. So.
It's the funniest thing to me, George, is the Jets fans' worst nightmare is a reality.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, the dad is going to give this team to his idiot sons, where they frickin' frack or whatever the hell their names are, and then they're going to play real-life Madden like dad for the rest of eternity with the Jets. This is so Jets. The Jets are just going to jet, aren't they?
That point you made about social media stuff, they'd see it and then they'd bring it up in meetings or whatever. There's a real life example of this. Mike Williams, it was mentioned in the report.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, there was a tweet from some Jets content creator on Instagram, or Instagram post tweet, whatever it was, where he was like, if Mike Williams signs with the Jets, I'll buy him a breakfast sandwich every day, Taylor ham and egg or whatever, which is a George thing. Is it pork roll? Taylor ham?
Taylor ham, egg, and cheese.
Okay. I'll buy him one
In
every
North
day.
Jersey, it's
Sounds
Taylor
like some
ham.
Jersey stuff.
They eventually signed Mike Williams, and when he's signing his contract in that picture all the teams post, there's the breakfast sandwich on the desk for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
They literally signed this guy because these dumb idiots are on Instagram all the time.
Because they saw some guys who like him.
Probably responding to stories with some wild stuff, I would imagine. I'm sure they're sending a lot of DMs on Instagram, these two. And that influenced maybe the worst signing they made last season.
Gross.
So, it's tremendous content.
This year on Halloween night, the Jets registered their final victory since Saleh's firing 4 weeks earlier. Significant moment for a struggling team. Rodgers walked into an energized locker room with the game ball in hand. It was expected he would give it to Jeff Ulbrich, a customary gesture for when a coach gets his first NFL win. Before Rodgers could speak, Brick Johnson took another game ball, awarded it to Garrett Wilson in a profanity-laced exclamation, which the owner's son later posted to Instagram. Just like...
What a loser.
And I looked up Brick on Instagram. It's now private, smart.
Of course.
Shove him into a locker. I get it, Keegan. You'd like to be his friend. I'd hate it.
I have to say, I was
The
joking.
social
These
blackmail?
kids suck.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
stand these kids.
I know people that act like the Brick Johnsons of the world. I cannot stand them.
Those are the worst kids on the planet.
Yes. You know
They
what
have
you
to
do?
be.
Brick is like, yo, you guys want to hit the mall? Sure. He's in the dressing room. He's like, hey, go get me this sweater. Go get me that one. He'd treat you guys like his peasants. He'd be the worst, bro.
I have a 14-year-old cousin who I would love to beat up, Brick and Jack.
That's Brick Johnson.
Yeah. One more quote from The Athletic. By the way, George said, Savior, support local journalism. Read The Athletic. It was the most awkward, cringeworthy, brutal experience, one player said. Imagine being like a 28-year-old freak athlete sitting in a locker room. You just finally got a win for the first time in 2 months. And some 17-year-old punk walks in, takes over the Thunder from your Hall of Fame 4-time MVP quarterback. If I'm Garrett Wilson, I'm spiking that ball into the kid's face. Don't you dare reference me. Who are you? Get out of my face.
I
That's
guarantee
crazy.
Brick was wearing a stupid big chain too.
Absolutely.
Thinks he has drip.
He wears the beanie with the pom-pom on the top, but it's barely on his head. It's hanging off.
Losers.
We just completely dismantled a 17-year-old.
That's fine.
Bad?
No, you're old enough. In 6 months, he's going to be an adult. So
That's
I don't
even
care.
scarier.
He's going to do something that's going to hurt the human race at some point.
Hey, this was Rush, a.k.a. the Anti-Brick Johnson podcast.
That's right, baby.
He's Travis Thomas. He's Keegan Stiefel. I'm George Blechy. Thanks for listening. We'll have a good one, everyone.
Kids